translation?
Yeah.
What page is it?
230.
Your life. Okay. Your life and alive.
Okay. Let's adjust these a little bit because the sound quality makes a big difference if the microphone is actually here. And the camera, the angle is very weird, isn't it? So maybe we can...
The angle was facing to the devotees.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So we changed it accordingly to with. Okay? Ready?
Okay. Yeah, why not?
All glory to Radha and Krishna and the divine spirit of Vrindavan. All glory to the three presiding deities of Vrindavan, because we just looking at and Madhura Mohan.
You want to read?
All glories to Shyamakunda Rakakunda, Govardhan Hill, and the Himariva. All glories to the great force as Mahavan, where Krishna and Balaram displayed all of the childhood pastimes.
All glories to Keshika, where Krishna killed the Keshi demon. All glories to the Bamsi Bhatta tree, where Krishna attracted all the gopis to come by playing his flute. Glories to all of the 12 forests of Braja. At these places, the son of Nanda, Sri Krishna, performed all of his pastimes.
All glories to Krishna's divine father and mother, Nanda and Yasoda. All glories to the cowherd boys, headed by Sridham, the older brother of Srimati Radharani and Ananga Manjari. All glories to the cows and calves of Braja.
All glories to Radha's divine father and mother, Risambhanu, and the beautiful Kirtida. All glories to Varnamasi, the mother of Sandipani Muni, mother of Madhumangal and Nandimukhi, and beloved disciple of Devarsi Narada. All glories to the young cowherd maidens of Braja.
What's the next one?
7.
6.
All glories to Gopeshwar Shrima, who resides in Vrindavan in order to protect the holy cow. All glories to Krishna's funny Brahmin friend, Madhumangal.
7.
All glories to Ramagata, where Lord Balaram performed his rasa dance. All glories to Lord Balaram, the son of Rohini. All glories to all the residents of Vrindavan.
All glories to the wives of the proud Vedic Brahmanas. All glories to the wives of the Kaliya sector. Through pure devotion, they all attain the lotus feet of Lord Brahma.
All glories to the place where the rasa dance of Sri Krishna was performed. All glories to Radha and Shyam. All glories to the divine rasa dance, which is the most beautiful of all of Lord Krishna's pastimes.
All glories to the mellow of conjugal love, which is the most excellent of all rasas, and is propagated in Braja by Sri Krishna in the form of the divine Parakiya Bhav, Paramore love.
Remembering the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda's consort Sri Janava Devi, this very fallen and lowly Krishna Das sings the Sankirtan of the holy name.
Alright. Janmashtami morning. There is in the Sanatana Shiksha, which is a couple of chapters on, chapter 20, I think, 21, 22. But I think it's in chapter 21 where Mahaprabhu is instructing Sanatana Goswami in the science and art of Krishna consciousness, in the process of Krishna consciousness. And in the course of that, he begins to describe the personal beauty of Krishna. And he gets overwhelmed with ecstasy, goes into a trance and chants a number of slokas in succession, glorifying the personal form of Krishna and the intense beauty of Krishna's form. So maybe that can be chanted later in the day. Quite nice, whole set of slokas, maybe 30, 40 of them. But for now we'll just continue with chapter 17. Mahaprabhu, the Lord travels to Vrindavan. And we are Hare Krishna, Dandavat, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. We are at the point. We're at the point of Mahaprabhu's departure from Varanasi, having transited through, staying at the house of Tapan Mishra. There's a small incident with a Maharashtrian Brahmin who informs Prakashananda Saraswati, the chief of the Mayavad sannyas community of Varanasi, of Mahaprabhu's presence. He informs him of Mahaprabhu's presence in Varanasi, and Prakashananda says, yes, I know that guy, he's a fraud, essentially. And he's a charlatan. But he has some mystical powers, and he's able to dupe people into displays of sentimental devotion, but it's all fakery in the end. So that's Prakashananda's opinion. And the Maharashtrian Brahmin returns to Mahaprabhu. He's quite disappointed, confused, a little hurt. And he returns to Mahaprabhu and informs him of Prakashananda's opinion of Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu quotes some verses regarding the inability of an impersonalist, of a Mayavad, someone who is unable to appreciate the personal form of Krishna, of God, their inability to understand the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and the ecstasy that it induces in its pure form. But he says, and in this sense, giving hope to a person, to the Mayavad condition, that the activities of Bhagavan, the Nam, Rup, Gun, Leela of Krishna, has the capability to attract someone from the position of Mayavad and take them to a position of bhakti, seva, devotional service. So it does, although Mahaprabhu states clearly that the Mayavadi conception is unable to in itself appreciate the nectar of the holy name, still there is hope. So it ends on an optimistic note. And Mahaprabhu says, I have brought a heavy load to sell in the city. To take it back is a very difficult job. Therefore, if I get but a fraction of the price, I shall sell it here in the city of Kashi. And of course, this is a metaphor, or perhaps an idiom. I've brought a heavy load to sell for the Krishna Prem that he plans or hoped to distribute in Varanasi. And so the most valuable thing, which he describes as a heavy load, is being sold at bargain prices. But it doesn't happen on this journey. It happens instead on Mahaprabhu's return journey from Vrindavan, when he goes back through Varanasi. And that's when the real, we could say, dispensation of mercy takes place. The preaching really shifts into gear at that point, when Mahaprabhu not only instructs Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, but also, you could say, enlightens Prakashananda Saraswati and converts him from Mayavad to bhakti. I want to read some from the Sanatan Shiksha later today in chapter 21. But for now we'll continue here as Mahaprabhu departs Varanasi. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Se Tina Sang Etabali Se Vipre Atmasatakari Prate Uti Mathura Chalila Gaurahari. After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted that Brahmana as his devotee. The next morning, rising very early, the Lord started for Mathura. So that Brahman is the Maharashtriya Brahman that was friends with Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar Acharya, Mahaprabhu's two resident devotees in Varanasi. But he also was a Varanasi local, unlike Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar, who are from Bengal. So he knew everyone, and that's why he was telling Prakashananda and others about Mahaprabhu's presence in Varanasi, being a local himself. He is one of the a few brahmanas that are referred to as such and such a brahmana based on their location or profession that appear in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. We have others such as when Mahaprabhu takes sannyas, he chants the verse of the Avanti Brahmana, and then we have this Maharashtrian Brahmana, and then in the next chapter when Mahaprabhu arrives in Vrindavan, he accepts the help of the Sanodiya Brahmana. There's different Brahmanas that appear. Then the Raghupati Upadhyaya is a little different. Se tina sange chale prabhune siddhila dura haite tina jane gari pataila. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started for Mathura, all three devotees started to go with him. However, the Lord forbade them to accompany him, and from a distance he asked them to return home. Prabhura virahe tine ekatra miliya Prabhu guna gane kare preme matahana. Feeling separation from the Lord, the three used to meet and glorify the holy qualities of the Lord. Thus they were absorbed in ecstatic love. So those three are the aforementioned Chandrasekhara Acharya, Tapan Mishra, who is the father of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, and the Maharashtrian Brahmin. Prayage Ashiya Prabhu Kaila Veni Snana Madhava Dekhiya Preme Kaila Nrityagana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then went to Prayag, where he bathed at the confluence of the Ganges and the Yamuna. He then visited the temple of Veni Madhava and chanted and danced there in ecstatic love. Yamuna dekhiye preme pade janpadya aste vyaste bhattacharya utaya dariya. As soon as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the river Yamuna, he threw himself in it. Balabhadra Bhattacharya hastily caught the Lord and very carefully raised him up again. E mata tina dina prayage rahila Krishna nama prema diya loka nistarila. The Lord stayed at Prayag for 3 days. He delivered the holy name of Krishna and ecstatic love. Thus he delivered many people. Mathura chalite pate yatarahiyaya Krishna nama prema diya lokerena chaya. Wherever the Lord stopped to rest on the way to Mathura, he delivered the holy name of Krishna and ecstatic love of Krishna. Thus he made the people dance. And this was a theme pervasive to Mahaprabhu's travels, both in South India and to Vrindavan, where everyone that he met, everyone that he touched, who were exposed to his presence, they were infused with Krishna consciousness, and many wanted to follow him. But he set the tone at the very beginning of his tours in Andhra Pradesh as he left Puri, where the Brahmana wanted to accompany him, wanted to abandon his life as he knew it and simply accompany Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu said, no, don't do that, but stay where you are and teach others about Krishna consciousness. And he says the famous verse, Yari deka tarikaha Krishna upadesh, Amara agyai guru hana tara idesh. Whoever you meet, tell them about Krishna. In that way you can act as a guru and spread Krishna consciousness throughout your area, throughout the land. And Kaviraj Goswami says that this is mentioned once in the sloka, this Yarideka Tarikaha, but this was a pervasive theme in Mahaprabhu's tours throughout his Madhya Leela of traveling and preaching Krishna consciousness. This instruction to the people he met who became infused with high Krishna consciousness and thus wanted to accompany Mahaprabhu everywhere. He said, no, you don't need to accompany me. You can practice Krishna consciousness and you can spread Krishna consciousness. This was his instruction. Purve yena dakshina yaite loka nistarila paschima deshe taiche sabha vaishnava karila. When the Lord toured South India, he delivered many people, and when he travelled in the western sector, he similarly converted many people to Vaishnavism. Pate yahan haya yamuna darshana tahan janpa diya pade preme achetana. When the Lord was going to Mathura, he came across the river Yamuna several times, and as soon as he saw the river Yamuna, he would immediately jump in, falling unconscious in the water in the ecstasy of love of Krishna. Mathura nikate aila mathura dekiya dandavat hana pare prema vistahana. When he approached Mathura, he saw the city. He immediately fell to the ground and offered obeisances with great ecstatic love. Mathura Ashia Kaila Vishranti Tirtisnana Janmastane Keshava Deki Karila Pranama. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered the city of Mathura, he took his bath as Vishrama Ghats. He then visited the birthplace of Krishna and saw the deity named Keshavaji. He offered his respectful obeisances to the deity. So very poignant for today. Mahaprabhu's visiting the birthplace of Krishna, considering that it is Krishna Janmashtami. Prabhupada says in the translation, at the present moment, the temple of Keshavaji is very much improved. And of course, this would have been in the early 70s that Prabhupada is writing this purport. So perhaps it's been further improved since then. I imagine it has. At one time, Keshavaji Mandir was attacked by the Emperor Aurangzeb, who constructed such a big mosque there that the temple of Keshavaji was insignificant in comparison. However, with the help of many rich Madhwaris, the temple has improved, and a very large temple is now being constructed, so that the mosque is now appearing diminished in comparison. Many archaeological discoveries have been made there, and many people from foreign countries are beginning to appreciate Krishna's birthplace. This Krishna consciousness movement is attracting many foreigners to the Keshavaji temple, and now they will also be attracted by the Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan. Premanande nache gaya saghana hunkara prabhura prema vesha deki loke chamatkara. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted, danced, and made loud vibrations, all of the people were astonished to see his ecstatic love. Eka viprapade prabhura charana dariya prabhu sange nritya kare prema vistahana. One Brahmana fell at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and then began to dance with him in ecstatic love. So this is the Sanadiya Brahman. And as will be explained, he is dancing in ecstatic love because of his previous contact with none other than Madhavendra Puri. Dunhe preme nritya kare kare kola kuli, Hare Krishna kahe dunhe bale bahutuli. Both of them danced in ecstatic love and embraced one another. Raising their arms, they said, chant the holy names of Hari and Krishna. Loka Hare Hare bale kola hala haila, Keshava sevaka prabhu ke mala paraila. All the people then began to chant, Hari, Hari, and there was a great uproar. The priest in Lord Keshava's service offered Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a garland. Loke kahe prabhu deki hana vishmaya, aiche hena prema lokika kabhunaya. When the people saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dancing and chanting, they were struck with wonder. They all said, such transcendental love is never an ordinary thing. Yanhara darshane loke preme matahana, hase kande na chegaya Krishna namalana. The people said, simply by seeing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everyone is maddened with love of Krishna. Indeed, everyone is laughing, crying, dancing, chanting, and taking the holy name of Krishna. Sarvata nischita inho Krishna avatara, matura aila lokera karite nistara. Certainly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in all respects, is the incarnation of Lord Krishna. Now he has come to Mathura to deliver everyone. Tabe Mahaprabhu se Brahmane lana, tanhare puchila kichu nibriti vasya. After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took aside the Brahmana. Sitting in a solitary place, the Lord began to question him. Arya Sharala Tumi Vridha Brahmana Kahan Haite Paile Tumi E Premadana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you are an elderly Brahman, you are sincere and you are advanced in spiritual life. Wherefrom have you gotten this transcendental opulence of ecstatic love for Krishna? Viprakahe Shripad Sri Madhavendra Puri Brahmati Aila Mathura Nagari. The Brahmana replied, His Holiness Sri Madhavendra Puri came to the city of Mathura while he was on tour. Kripakari tenho mora nilai aila, more shishyakari mora hate bhikshakaila. While at Mathura, Shripad Madhavendra Puri visited my house and accepted me as a disciple. He even took lunch at my home. Gopala prakata kare seva kaila mahashaya, adyapiha tanhara seva govadane haya. After installing the deity Gopal, Sri Madhavendra Puri rendered him service. That very deity is still being worshipped at Govardhan Hill. Nowadays, that deity is in... Does anyone know where that deity is now?
Jaipur.
In Jaipur. Yeah. No, not Jaipur.
Oh, no.
It's a different deity.
Oh, yeah.
It's in Rajasthan, and Jaipur is in Rajasthan. But not Jaipur. Jaipur is Radha Govinda, of course. Rupa Goswami's deities. This is the one that appeared to Madhavendra Puri in the dream, saying, I'm suffering from the climate. I'm not being cared for. So then he's installed on Govardhan. But then there was a Muslim attack and he was moved. A couple of times actually. Once he was taken from Govardhan Hill and put in a Brahmana's house in Mathura. And Rupa Goswami and all of the saints of Vrindavan, actually led by Rupa Goswami, they go and they spend several weeks in Mathura to get darshan of the deity, of the Gopal deity. Because Madhavendra Puri installed him on top of Govardhan Hill. But Mahaprabhu did not himself walk on Govardhan Hill, and he forbade his disciples to do so. Right? And that's like one example of that is in his instructions to Jagadananda. what not to do in Vrindavan. One of them was don't walk on Govardhan Hill. Don't stay too long. Don't imitate the locals. And move under the guidance of an experienced devotee in Vrindavan. So they weren't walking on Govardhan Hill. But of course they were aware of the presence of this famous Gopal deity. They were aware of the history of the deity. And they were coming in the line of Madhavendra Puri, who you could say rescued, rediscovered the deity and re-established his worship. But they couldn't have darshan of the deity. So it's said that on the pretext of fear of a Muslim attack, the deity came down from Govardhan Hill to stay with a Brahmana in Mathura so that the devotees headed by Rupa Goswami could have darshan. And they took advantage of that, staying for a month, 2 months, something like that, at the house of the Brahmin to have darshan of the Gopal deity. But then later there were further problems involving Muslim aggression. So the deity was whisked away, quite a distance away, to Nathdwar. His current home is in Nathdwar, near Udaipur in Rajasthan.
Near.
Sort of, well, Udaipur is the nearest city.
Because we hear from the